Interesting twist, viewers. We've been talking about this entire narrative shift, using cinema as a soft power to put out Bharat's story and also counter a certain level of propaganda that's been pushed upon us for many years. The Americans have done it in the past, the Russians have done it, the Koreans are continue to do it, the Chinese continue to do it. They continue to use their soft power to push a narrative about their nation and their people and what that nation stands for. Now, after Dhurandhar decimated Pakistan's lies and the propaganda bogey, the Battle of Galwan teaser, starring Salman Khan, has unnerved China a bit. The film is based on the deadly 2020 clash between Indian and Chinese troops in the Galwan Valley, an episode that severely strained ties between the two neighbors. And within hours of the teaser's release on December 27th, Chinese media commentary signaled visible unease. China's state-run news outlet Global Times has slammed the film and dismissed it as fictional. Further, Global Times said that cinematic stories cannot change territorial realities. Now, even as we speak, viewers, Bharat has invited China to send across a delegation for the mega AI conference. There's been an acknowledgement of the same by the same Global Times. Of course, the Chinese authorities are looking at. There is a lot of water under the bridge and there is a certain level of reconciliation that's being attempted. But my question, as we go back to our guests, Major Jolly, Sushant Sareen and Andrew K. Leong, if it was not a big deal, Major Manik Jolly, why is the Global Times reacting? They're just reacting to a trailer. So the idea is that they are waiting to quell any narrative that may be inconvenient to them. That's how quick on the counter they are. But they have chosen to react to this movie. Why?
I think the word that you used, rattled, is a very good one. Right? The point is that Galwan, many everything and all, and somehow we did not come across very heavily as far as reporting from our side happened. It happened later. And everything that we came out with the details, and even the Chinese did not even give details of the casualties they had, which were 50 plus. But they kept hammering India on, we did so much, we did so much. So this movie comes as a stark reminder to them that we have not forgotten what was done to you if you try any misadventure there. And if they are so rattled by the trailer, it means they do fear that the truth, that forget the cinematic liberty that Mr. Khan would have taken in his movie. But the fact is, there is a fear that the narrative which it comes out, it might counter the propaganda which they had created around Galwan, and might their story within China might fall flat. That I think is the biggest fear they might have.
Andrew K. Leong, agree, disagree?
Well, I think every nation use the movie industry to promote their own heroes. India, China, United States, they're doing more or less the same thing. I mean, that film reminds me of the Chinese version, of course, in a different context of the so-called Wolf Warrior movies, again promoting China's national heroes, defending its own interests. Now, what this trailer is only just a trailer, but behind the trailer, as you can see, that even the signs imprinted on the trailer, based on the true, underline the word true, facts on surrounding Galwan. But of course, the narrative on both sides are very different, and hence the reaction from a state media in China. That's I think is understandable. But be that as it may, my view is that the timing of this film is ill-conceived at a time when the relationship between the two countries recalibrated towards a more sustainable, a more productive level. And this film portraying the kind of different narratives, stroking kind of nationalism on both sides, it's not good for the relationship between the two peoples, regardless of its artistic or entertainment values.
Sushant Sareen, agree, disagree? How, timing is never right till the time the Chinese believe it's good time for them. So, why can't Bharat and Bharatiya cinema put out Bharat's version? Let's business as usual, Why should it matter to the Chinese?
No, Anand, I don't have any problem with a movie coming out. I could have a problem with the fact that, and look, we are talking about a movie which has not even come out.
Yeah.
So we don't know what's there in the movie. We are just seeing some rushes on a trailer, right? And there are some parts of that trailer which raise my eyebrows because, for example, they're showing gunfire and stuff like that. I don't think there was any gunfire during Galwan. I don't think there were any tanks being moved. Post Galwan, yes, but not when Galwan clash happened. I just hope that the makers of the film haven't really played around with those facts, because then it becomes a typical Bollywood masala film, which is I don't have a problem with a Bollywood masala film, and I don't see any reason why Bollywood should not make films like this. That's perfectly fine, and people who don't like those films need to learn to deal with it. That is one part of it. Second, look, the fact of the matter remains that the well has been poisoned as far as people to people relations are concerned. At one level, if you look at the trade relationship, if you look at the political relationship, there is certainly a thaw. Trade relationship remains fairly strong. The political relationship is coming back on the rails. But frankly, and I think this is extremely unfortunate, the people to people relationship, it's in a poisoned well, because a lot of stuff which has happened inside China, the kind of perceptions that have been built up inside China, and of course, a certain amount of perception of Chinese perfidy within India. So that problem is going to remain. And frankly, I find it unfortunate because if you look at it civilizationally and culturally, we share a lot more with the Chinese in terms of social mores, in terms of how we pray, in a lot of things are we share with the Chinese, but we are having these problems with them. Whereas with the Pakistanis, for example, there is nothing. It's a civilizational enemy as far as we are concerned. And out there, it's a different kind of a ball game. But I don't see why we should have this problem with the Chinese. And yet, that is the reality.
Yeah,
Is this film going to further add more poison to the well? I don't think so, because I don't know how many Chinese are going to watch this film.
No,
and I don't even know.
I'm intrigued that it is supposed to be for a Bharatiya audience, but thing is that Bharatiya cinema is also quite popular in China. So Amir Khan's film, Salman Khan's film, these movies do, when there is a translated dubbed version, and people do watch it. So clearly the state is, the PLA has responded. My thing is that how quick they are on the counter to try and even scuttle the trailer, to try and critique the trailer itself, and to try and start this browbeating and intimidation, somewhere giving subtle warnings that red flag the movie, watch it very carefully, don't try and put out all of this. Hey, Major Manik, you see this? This is what they are trying to do. And is it because of the success of Dhurandhar that the PLA is out more, all the more careful, that let it not go up to the screens, and let's try and scuttle it even before that? See, they raised the red flag even with Rockstar when, Free Tibet and all of that was shown in one of the songs, and they said, you cannot have this gathering of Tibetan people, you cannot show this. See, they are always watching what Bharat is doing and always quick on trying to push their narrative.
This is Anand, this is simply not quantification. This is kind of, they kind to try to have that regional hegemony. We will tell you what movies is all right for regional security, for relations between us. And good that you brought out Dhurandhar also. I think these movies need to be made. We cannot have a major art center, that is Bollywood, that creates movies and shapes narratives, talking only about, Romeo meets Juliet and all that. These strong movies need to come out. So you can criticize the movie making as much as you want, but taking on Galwan and turning it into movie is actually answer back to Chinese propaganda, and Chinese scuttling around and trying to fire at the teaser, at the trailer is information warfare 101. They are trying to create a story around this now, that this is all fake, this is, you are taking it and ruining a relationship, they're taking it to that level, so that even when the movie comes, they feel free to criticize as much as they want. And then I don't know how, if they have they might even ban it in China, I don't know about that, but they could possibly do that. But the point is, they all know what we think about in China. This is more about their own population. This is more about standing with the story that they had narrated around Galwan, and not giving any chance to Indian media or Indian movies to create a dent into that. So Chinese are, as you rightly said in the first word, rattled about it, because this might open some pages which they never want to, show again.
No, the other thing is that it's become such a thing that you're trying to say that this will sour relationships. how when the PLA salami slices into Bharat's territory, at that time trade is supposed to go on, all other things are going, and we'll talk about it. But a movie trailer comes out, and this is what the message comes out from its state media, that don't put it out because this could hurt relationships. We'll quickly climb the ladder of escalation. What does that mean? Bharat doesn't say that.
Yeah, I think they think that the way they control their country, they can control everybody around also. Hollywood has been making movies on World War II since decades, and they still do very reasonable trade with Germany and everybody else. It doesn't mean that if you are creating a movie, it somehow should sour the relationship. We are trying to show facts from our side. This is immensely childish and immature of them to take out a trailer and start, treating it as a beacon of our relationships with them. I think it should be criticized.
No,
Which you rightly are doing.
how are we magnifying this IW aspect? Sushant Sareen, before I bring in Andrew Kapilung, what are we doing? What are we doing to amplify and try and counter in this entire information warfare piece? Because there has been criticism that Bharat has always lagged behind. They played second to, say, the Pakistanis or to the PLA.
No, I think in this particular case, there is an article which has come out. I think it's a rather silly one, and there was no need for it. But again, yes, the Chinese are very prickly about things which do not fit into their narrative. And I don't see any reason why we need to toe their narrative. So they've said something, what they've said. I think the best way to answer is to bring out this movie and let it play out. If the movie is good, it'll run. If it isn't, it won't. And the Chinese just need to learn to cope with it. And they also need to understand that, there are certain things they can do to browbeat some countries, and sometimes very often countries get browbeaten and will, either excise certain stuff or not include certain stuff, keeping in mind how it will play out in the Chinese political sphere. I don't see any reason why India needs to pander to that. We want to have good, normal relations with the Chinese, but I don't think we accept China as a hegemon, and I don't see any reason why we will accept Chinese diktats. If Chinese movies come out or there is propaganda by Chinese media, we are free to criticize it. If the Chinese understand it, fine. If they don't understand it, that is their problem.
Right.
But we will address people, and I think at least on Galwan and some of these other things, we did a fairly good job of the IW part of it.
Right.
I don't know how effective.
Yeah.
But it certainly.
No, here the simple thing is, it was a movie. It would have just come and gone. But by reacting to this, the trailer itself, have they played this wrong? Have they played this one wrong? That's what we will leave the PLA to think and wonder, because this is now going to get more attention than what it would have had they just let it fly, let it just slide under the carpet, let it go. That's what they didn't do. Have run out of time. So thank you very much, gents. Thank you very much. Have to wind up on that note. Thank you.